Good morning, everyone. Okay, here we go. Okay. So as I was saying, I'm the only electrical inspector at the port, and people often ask me, well, what's it like to be the only electrical inspector? I tell them, imagine being invited to the party just so you can shut it down. And being the only electrical inspector there really is nobody to argue with. It's like I walk on water. So I'm my biggest rival, but somehow we make it. Every project at one point or another runs through me. I don't have my hands on it. However, I'm involved in the constructability review, and so we'll begin with that. My job is basically to make sure that nobody turns a multi-million-dollar project into a 4th of July show. So 40 years of CABEC, and today their work is still more relevant than ever. With technology and regulation moving at a fast pace, we simply cannot afford to fall behind. So let me walk you through our agenda today and what I hope to cover and what I hope to offer as far as information goes. We'll go ahead and start off with air quality and the port policy and how it addresses that. And then we'll dig into the parallels between Title 24 and our microgrid project. There's a lot to unpack, and since this project is still actually in its commissioning phase, this is more like a sneak preview, getting it right before the CC gets it. So let's get started. I'll start with air quality. Picture this: massive cranes moving containers, ships lined up across the horizon, diesel trucks rumbling down the freeway. This is the heartbeat of global commerce. But imagine living next to that heartbeat, where every breath you take comes at a cost. This is the story that Port set up change to prove that clean air and economic power can move in the same direction. The port's mission. The Port of Long Beach is an international gateway for reliable, efficient, and sustainable movement of goods, benefiting our local and global economies. Our authority comes from the California Entitlements Act of 1911, which empowered cities like Long Beach to develop their waterways for commerce, for recreation, for fishing, for things of that nature. And there's something a lot of people don't know about the port is that our harbor department, we don't operate on tax dollars. We lease the land, and we lease land to private firms. We take revenue from that lease and we reinvest it directly back into the port. So the Port of Long Beach is more than just a harbor. It's America's front door to the Pacific. Nearly half of all U.S. imports from Asia run through the port. I'll give you some quick facts. That each year, we move enough containers to stack the Empire State Building multiple times over. We have 3,500 acres of land, 4,600 acres of water, 10 miles of waterfront, 2,000 vessel calls a year. 1 out of every 5 items in every American household moves through the port. 1 out of every 17 jobs in Southern California is supported through port activity. It's the second busiest port in the United States. I don't know who the first one is. Looking ahead, the port is investing billions to modernize its facilities. You can see the key areas where they function, where they're focusing on. But as we electrify more equipment, our facilities, our power demand is projected to grow 12-fold by 2030. So something had to be done about that. In the last 20 years, the port has dramatically reduced pollution, even as cargo has increased by 20%. We're very proud of these numbers. Each year, the port conducts a comprehensive emissions inventory from every source of pollution emitted from the port. So from trucks to ships to tugboats and more, for everyone to see. At the Port of Long Beach, we're very proud of these numbers. We reduced it by 92, 71, and 98 from our baseline year of 2005. So that air problem I was talking about earlier, that's been negotiated already. Our local neighbors, which is why we're doing this, we're talking about San Pedro, Wilmington, and West Long Beach. These numbers have come down dramatically. And CARB, which is the California Air Resources Board, they have a program which is state mandated where they test the air, and they work with community organizations to test the air, so they don't just rely on our numbers. These numbers come from everybody. So how do we do this? How do we make this happen? Through strong collaboration with state and local partners, and by implementing clean air policies that work. I like to say that clean air policies, zero air emission policies at the port, they're on steroids. It really is, it's something you haven't seen. When I first got there, I thought to myself, okay, the zero emission stuff, what is this? But really, through the years, it's become a reality, and it's an amazing thing. It's amazing to see the collaboration and the investment and the projects and everybody making it happen. So in 2005, the port was the first port in the world to adopt a comprehensive green policy. And think about that, 2005. This was before green was a thing. And we already knew then that we needed to head in this direction. In 2006, the San Pedro Bay Clean Air Action Plan, it's a joint effort between the Port of Los Angeles and the Port of Long Beach. And together we set air pollution and greenhouse gas targets. In 2013, we enacted the energy policy, which laid the groundwork for sustainable energy policies. And basically this was how we're gonna do it. We have an environmental department, everybody learning what is needed and how to approach it, because the CEC, they don't just give the money away. You have to put together a bid. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to know which direction your agency is going to go in. And this is very complicated, and it took a lot of years for us to get to the point where we could start to submit these bids to get these projects awarded. So the CAP, the California Air Action Plan, is updated as well. It's updated to reflect the technology and regulatory requirements. And when these updates are replaced, they usually set more ambitious goals. I'll just share a couple with you. The latest one of 2017 says we're going to reduce greenhouse gas by 40%, which is below the 1990 levels by 2030, and we'll also achieve zero tailpipe emissions from cargo handling equipment by 2030. So just two there, man. So we have also our zero emissions container terminal operations program, which is targeted to transform all our cargo handling operations to zero technologies, zero emissions technologies. And this is a public-private collaboration that combines the port, terminal operators, and equipment manufacturers. And we have the drayage truck. These are trucks that are short-haul trucks, usually move cargo between 50-mile radius of the area. And so the state and the local, these are state and local targets first to reduce the local emissions. Long-haul trucks will take longer because of the technology, and as the range improves on their batteries, then they'll be targeted. But right now we have this program for drayage trucks. And we know that finally California has their goal of carbon neutrality by 2045. But we're on schedule to achieve that 5 years earlier by 2040. So we're ahead of schedule. We're truly going to be the first port in the world, first green port in the world. So I'm just going to discuss a little bit about the CEC funding. We received in 2023, 331 million in zero emissions projects. I'll highlight a few of those right now. Some of this may sound repetitive from the energy policies. Shore power. Ships now plug into electrical power at dock instead of running their engines at berth, and this reduces emissions right at the source. We have received funding we've received 383 million for an infrastructure and a freight program that will right now give us 12 zero emissions locomotives. We have a large rail expansion program going in the northern part of the port, which has taken our areas in our jurisdiction that were old warehouses and old mechanic shops. They're being knocked down to lay ground for a large railway that's going to connect to the Barstow depot that they're going to have there. And when it's all done in 2030, this will move 30% of our cargo through railway. We have 12 of these zero emission locomotives. We have a couple of them there now. And these are very complicated machines. Charging them and maintenance, a lot goes into this. So this is something that we expect to see by 2030. Old diesel trucks are being replaced by cleaner models. I believe we're at 15% of our drayage trucks right now are running on clean energy. We have one terminal at Pier E. It's called the LBCT, short for Long Beach Container Terminal. It's nearly 100% electrified. You might have seen that those are the ones that have the autonomous trucks that the cranes move them down. So there's no gas. It's almost 100%. And we have the green flag program. So this is the speed reduction program where it's a voluntary participation program from the shipping companies to slow down when they get near the port. They slow down to 12 knots and they get a discount from their docking fees. Some of these companies save about $2 million a year by doing so. So they're really enthusiastic about getting involved. So they slow down probably before they get to Catalina and down to 12 knots, and that reduces emissions. And they also run on cleaner fuels.